Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and again, thank the witnesses for being here. My entire tenure in Congress has been a top priority of mine to expand broadband access throughout rural America, and in particular, the rural Georgia and the 12th District of Georgia. It is frustrating, though, that no matter how many billions, and this is typical of so many things, how many billions of dollars we appropriate towards this mission, it remains incomplete. Now, I think we need to correct the record a little bit on some conversation. The Biden-Harris administration had 3 years to run BEAD, and only 3 states submitted final proposals at that time. In the 3 months since the Trump administration reformed BEAD, 36 states have submitted final approvals. I'm also concerned that the fees that some state and local governments charge for processing application and using space in public right-of-ways will only increase the cost of deployment and make it hard to provide service to those who need it. Mr. Spalter and Mr. Haley, could you describe typical application fees associated with building broadband infrastructure at the state and local level?
I'd be happy to. We find in many instances that state and local municipalities use access fees for permitting, not necessarily to meet costs, but essentially as a revenue center, as a profit center, as a mechanism to actually accelerate their own revenue needs. We need to make sure that to the extent that we are providing fees for such permits, that they are calibrated to exactly what kind of costs.
Is there a lot of variance in what you see in these fees across the country?
It is a hodgepodge of fees. They can be extremely excessive in certain circumstances. In Oregon, for example, we find that there are localities that are charging literally hundreds of dollars for fees that should be significantly less. It really depends on the locality. The diversity of mechanisms in which we actually have to apply for those permits is extremely variable. We still are talking about using hard copy and triplicates on non-standard page sizes, in addition to often exorbitant fees that are unmoored from the actual costs that should be associated with fees. We need to be able to address these in a more efficient way, and we're so glad that your work, Congressman Allen, and this committee's work is driving us towards that.
Thank you. Mr. Haley?
Yeah, on the wireless side, one of the things that the FCC has taken a look at is making sure that fees for applications for co-location on existing infrastructure or new builds are cost-based. And that is a fairness issue, right? And it's about making sure that there are funds being raised to cover the costs that local governments do have, and they do, to administer their programs. But those fees should be directly related to the cost of actually running the program, not just to generate revenue and treating the process as a revenue generation opportunity. And what the FCC has done is it looked at what is the average cost of these fees and has determined what's reasonable. And you see some communities where it's 5, 10x what the rest of the local governments are charging, and that's the problem.
Right, I understand. Given these fees, I worry that we will not be maximizing the money we've dedicated for broadband deployment. This money needs to go towards building these new networks, not helping local governments. This is especially true for the $42 billion that has been dedicated to the BEAD program. That's why I introduced the BEAD Fee Act, which will improve transparency in the BEAD program, allowing accountability for application fees. Mr. Salter, you mentioned in your testimony that China is eager to see American bureaucracy slow us down. How does streamlining broadband permitting help us to stay ahead of global competitors?
It tries to even the playing field. Let's be clear about what's going on today in the world. In China, in 2025, it's expected that there will be $100 billion of CapEx invested. 50% of that is coming through an industrial policy by the Chinese government. That's about $50 billion. It's significantly more than we're spending here in the United States. They are actively moving forward on a national effort, connectivity effort called the Eastern Data and Western Computing Project. It's a multi-billion-dollar effort to make sure that there's connectivity between data centers. Unless and until we have the guile and the focus to be able to move aggressively to streamline and make more logical our own permitting systems so that we can truncate the time from application to approval, we are going to fall behind in the AI race.
Okay.
And we can't let that happen.
Right, well, I'm out of time. The other witnesses, if you, Claire, would like to comment on that for the record, please submit that for me. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.